What's up, you people? David here. Today I'm gonna be making a video about how insecurity is a disease and how it robbed me. It robbed me of my childhood. It robbed me of my teenage years. It robbed me of my adolescence. It just robbed me of my life. Insecurity has ruined a majority of my relationships. It's not just me being insecure, it's just how it's robbed me of a lot in life. You know, you're not able to have any memories. You're not able to enjoy anything. You're not able to live because some people, even me, has allowed insecurity to have a hold on them and bound them. Some people are probably wondering, what do I actually mean by insecure? Because, you know, a lot of people have their own definition of insecurity. I could place it on the screen about what I think is not insecure in a relationship, what I think is fine in a relationship, and then you could tell that what I'm mainly talking about when it comes to insecurity, it's not about enabling obvious promiscuous behavior. I made a video called Immodesty to Society. I mean, I'm not gonna deep dive in this video, but I did deep dive in that video, so I'll make sure I put a link in the description for that video. And if you care about like the science and all the other stuff about insecurity and how society conditions you from childhood to have this idea of beauty that you need to meet, that's the video for that. I just got a question. Why do we care? Like, what good is it to care about what anybody thinks in this world? Like, for real, does it matter? Does it matter if I'm ugly to people? I mean, all of it is subjective anyway. This world's definition of beauty is subjective. It doesn't really exist. We don't talk about the objective beauty of creation that God created. We don't talk about the objective beauty of nature and human beings and how everybody here is beautiful and how all the animals, including the one in the deep blue sea, is beautiful. The ones that we find disgusting are beautiful. The only reason we find certain animals disgusting or ugly is because of our societal conditioning. But there's nothing on this planet that God has created that is ugly. Why are we so obsessed with being perfect? Perfectionism is like a horrible thing to have. It's most people's biggest flaw, and that's that everything has to be perfect. Everything that happens in their life has to be perfect. Everything that a person must touch must turn to gold. You're not allowed to be imperfect. You're not allowed to make mistakes. You're not allowed to have accidents. So, you're not allowed to be human when you are in this perfectionist mindset. You're not allowed to enjoy yourself. You're not allowed to enjoy your relationship. And then we have the nerve. There's some people in this world, not all of you, but some of you, that think you should allow a man and a woman to check out different women to prove that you're not insecure. So I'm supposed to allow infidelity because I'm so secure within myself. How does that make sense? Jealousy is a manifestation of an insecurity. You're right. Possessiveness is as well. Being controlling, being clingy is. But someone being a cheater, someone that's meant to love you, is desiring someone else, complimenting them romantically, staring at them, checking them out, and you have a problem with that, that doesn't make you insecure. Just for the record, I feel like personally, in my personal life, insecurity has robbed me of a lot of good moments. And it's made me depressed. I miss me before it all. Let's say when I was about 9 or 8, I didn't care about how I was looking too much. You know, I used to smile in my pictures. I can even show y'all old pictures. I used to smile, right? and I used to show all of my teeth, you know, and because I didn't know how to smile. You know, I'm the type that I am just an overthinker. You know, that's why I believe I might have high functioning autism. You know, I went to a SSI psychiatrist, and she said I could have high functioning autism, and I believe I do because I'm over analytical about a lot of things, you know. So when I was a little kid, you know, I didn't know how to smile. You know, my mom used to say, just show your teeth. So in a lot of pictures, I was just showing my teeth, you know. And I remember when I was over my cousin's house, you know, I did my same smile, just showing my teeth, you know, and then they were like, oh, just don't smile. Smile with your mouth closed. And ever since that moment, when I was a kid, at least like 10 through 14 maybe, I didn't feel comfortable smiling with my teeth. And that really shows you how somebody's critique or criticism or judgment can affect you. You hold on to it for years. You allow it to rob you of many things. Because what? Because somebody didn't like how you smiled. Imagine being insecure about that for several years. For one person who probably doesn't even think about you, care about you, they're moved on. But you harbor it, you hold it, and you let it rule you and dictate how you're going to live from now on out. Why? You know, I wasn't even comfortable with this, talking to a camera, vlogging, or doing anything. You know why? Because when I was first, like, I was a very, like, I was about, like, let's say I was about 13, right? 13 through like 15 or 16, right? I had a little channel that I had with my sister because I wanted to bond with my sister. So we were playing Roblox and everything, right? And we would joke around. You know, we have our own little inside jokes. We have made up characters that we like to imitate and act like, you know. So I feel like, okay, these are some funny videos. I'm going to upload them. You know, the first thing, some comments, they'll say, you're cringy, you're retarded, you sound retarded, you sound stupid, you sound dumb, this isn't funny. And that ruined it for me. You know, what started out as something I thought was going to be wholesome, or maybe me and my sister have a little community that likes watching us, it turned into a nightmare. And then later on in my life, I had friends, not good friends, but friends. You know, we had a little gaming channel and everything, and I tried again to be on camera. This is around the time I was gaining a little more weight. So let's say I was about, I think, like 18, wanting to make gaming videos and wanting to be on camera just to test it out. You know, my face is kind of pudgy. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to try to roll off the top of my mind and just talk. See if people like my personality, you know. I start to see dislikes, you know. Don't really get any comments. People don't really care about what I'm saying. Barely any views. Just pretty much nobody, right? So then, get a little bit self-conscious again. And I had the kind of toxic friends that were always passive-aggressive. So I remember I was taking pictures with my friend all the while being somewhat overweight, you know, face pudgy and everything. And then he's like, you know what, you make me look good in these pictures. You know, like him standing next to me makes him feel more confident. Because he's looking at me and comparing himself to me and saying, at least I don't look like him. You don't want people around you that constantly critique you, but then you sometimes can't even control it because it may be the very environment that you're growing up in or still currently in. You know, so you can't control it. The only thing you control is how you let it affect you. And you want to know how I got comfortable with seeing myself on camera? Is I challenged myself to be on camera. I kind of made it where I could get comfortable with my face, my personality, my voice, the way I talk, because there was a time I didn't like any of those qualities. You know, I thought I sounded nasally. I thought I sounded kind of annoying. You know, I didn't like my face for different angles. I felt like my cheeks were too puffy. I felt like my mannerisms were too feminine, or I looked too awkward, or I move or walk too awkward. Like, when you're on camera, you could really dissect everything you hate about yourself. Notice that. Like, you would think someone else was your biggest hater, and then you realize you're your biggest hater. You know, because you look at yourself in all the pictures, in all the videos, and anything you're in, and you say, man, I cannot stand me. Now, should somebody be like just flat out recording you without you knowing? Maybe not, no, because you have no time for preparation, you didn't really give your permission, and that doesn't help you. But you recording yourself, you exposing yourself to yourself, you know, like an exposure type of therapy, you getting used to seeing you can very well benefit you, because you will feel more like you want to connect to you. You want to get comfortable in your flesh. You want to be content with yourself, because in this world, you'll never be content with yourself. This world will never give you a moment where you can. They'll never give you the reassurance you need. There will never be enough validation for you if you're expecting it from this world. The thing is, a lot of people, me, my wife, my family, has chased the validation of others, of this world, has chased constant reassurance for what? What would the whole world's approval do for you in the end? What are you truly gaining? What are you gaining? Yes, if the whole world praised you and thought you were beautiful and thought you were all of this, what do you truly gain? I'll tell you what you gain. Nothing. Because when you pass away, even if you were the most beautiful person in the world is ever changing. Their definition of beautiful will always be changing. Their definition of what's worthy, what's valuable will always change. Society will always change. You're always going to be living in a different world every decade. I allow insecurity to rob me of 15 years of my life. Since I was 10. And I'm 25. And I've been insecure all the while. For what? It hurts your marriage. It hurts you. It hurts your relationship. It hurts your family. It divides people. You can't enjoy anything. Why? I don't. I recently, when I sold my camera because we were struggling, and it had a lot of memories. Me and my wife going to the movies, me and my wife doing all kinds of fun activities, right? I wanted to save those memories because I felt like I wasn't going to be able to recreate them, right? Because although my wife is very beautiful, she don't realize it. Because when a person is insecure, it's hard for them to see what you see in them. It's hard for them to see the potential. It's hard for them to see what you see. Because they have to believe in themselves, and they don't. You know, I know there's something in this world. When you're insecure, you're constantly living afraid. You're living in fear. And then you're allowing this fear to really just hold on to you. I noticed that a lot of insecurity comes from like a lack of consistency, a lack of trust, a lack of confidence, a lack of love, a lack of compassion, a lack of care. And so whatever they feel deprived of, they try to pursue. They try to gain as much as possible. But you can never fill the void, and the void is never too full for too long. You may feel satisfied in one moment, and then the next moment you feel ugly again. You feel the need to seek more attention. And when you're in an insecure relationship, how can I fill your glass? How can I fill your void when my void is empty as well? Unless you both decide to challenge yourselves and practice being more secure in who you are. Have more experiences together. Practice accepting compliments instead of turning them down. Practice only apologizing when you're actually wrong. Because some people just over apologize and always assume that they're wrong because they don't trust themselves. They have a problem with themselves. I was one that apologized a lot, even in moments where I wasn't exactly wrong. And I only realized that after like evaluating the whole situation and realizing that, wait a minute, I wasn't really wrong. Because when you have manipulative friends and a manipulative family, they're always going to make you feel like you're doing something wrong, even if you're not. But do you realize that I'm not wrong? But like I said, a lot of this insecurity in this world, a lot of what happens in this world, it kills you. It kills you inside and out. All I have to say is that for everybody who's insecure right now, I don't care if you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. You need to just stop. You need to practice on stopping. It's time to change your whole life. It's too long. I believe from the time I could understand the concept of beauty, I was already insecure for too long. I will never tell anyone that you're ugly because your skin is too dark. You're ugly because your skin is too light. That, oh, if you have a unibrow, big, small feet, big nose, small nose, that you're just not desirable. I would never teach that. I would never live that. And I don't want anyone else to live that. No one else. No one should ever live their life in a box of unhappiness and depression. And this video may not even change my life. This video that I'm making, I'm sorry if I seem like I'm upset, but I'm just mad. Because I am freaking depressed. I'm depressed that I live in a world where everybody I love will never probably understand how beautiful they are. You don't have to be a certain body type. You don't have to be a certain skin tone. Your physique and genetics don't really matter. They're naturally beautiful. I miss when I was a kid and we were able to play outside and we didn't have to care about having swag and having all the things that change with time. And I miss it so much. And I sometimes very much wish that they were never introduced to stuff like that. I hate it. I hate it so much with a passion. I just despise the whole hip culture, trendy culture. I despise people who worship bodies because that ruined my life. Worrying about a six-pack, worrying about having big body parts and this and that and the other, ruined it. It ruined it. Don't let it rob you. Don't let it rob you. And for all those interested in how it robs people and seeing examples of how society has changed, my video Immodesty of Society would be in the description below, and I highly recommend you watch it. I highly recommend it because I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts on this video, but for those that this video is all you wanted to see, I would love to see your comments, hear your journey, hear your battle. I would love for you to overcome whatever you're going through. If somebody thinks you're anything awkward, stupid, dumb, ugly, erase that. Look at the world. Look at the condition of the world. We're not even living in a perfect nation, perfect country, a perfect world. Nothing about this world, nothing about what somebody says about you holds any validity. They'll have to, it doesn't. This world will keep changing. People will die. People will move on. People will find a new trend. Doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm just rambling. I hope you people enjoyed the video. I love you all. God bless you all. Bye.